Oh, yeah, bachelor party. I would have gone back. 39 episodes of Bosom Buddies. Once you see that, that's all you need to know.
Tom, I have to tell you, Tom Hanks, a dog and a road trip, this film sort of sells itself. I know you don't really need me, so thank you so much for your time today. This is just always an honor. Let's be honest, you don't need me.
Well, there's some people that would want to take the dog out of that road trip because that means you guess what? You're stopping every 2.5 hours for one reason or another. But,
It's okay.
it is a good one-way conversation, you and the dog.
Yeah, it sure is. Dogs are the best, which should be the tagline. Dogs are the absolute best. But I have to go to the robot because what's so beautiful about this movie, there are so many neat scenes where you basically got to teach Jeff a lot of things quickly. And you think about teaching a robot trust. And there's that beautiful scene with you teaching trust. What do you think in your life was the lesson your parents tried to teach you that took you the longest to get?
Oh, if my parents actually sat down at some point and said, there's something that we want you to learn, and this is going to be the very most important thing that will come across in your life, I would have said to them, how do you know? You have your life. You went through stuff. You have no idea of the pressures that I'm under. You don't know what it's like to walk to school the way I walk to school because it's just different. You don't know you, you don't know the perspective I have now as a father. Have I sat down with all my kids and said, son, daughter, here's something that you absolutely need to learn without realizing that, of course, what they get to say to me is this, how do you know what's important
Right.
to me? Because you did not grow up in the same world. But when it comes down to it, I have if what I learned from my folks was that there's absolutely no substitution. Excuse me, I have a different sort of ear than my left word. You got which one is what pod is yours? You using
I've got the advanced ones because of the same thing that you're probably dealing with.
right.
Yeah.
That the salve for every day, and a lot of times the solution for an awful lot of problems you have, or the only thing you can take away from a crisis or for a moment is ability to laugh at it. I must say, growing up with my parents and in my family, and I hope in along with my kids, a good, solid, honest laugh really does level a playing field to a practical, place where it's we're going to be okay. If we can laugh about this, we're going to be okay.
I totally agree with that. And obviously, everything Jeff knows is from stuff you upload. If you want him to know about Tom Hanks, what's the film you're uploading into his system?
Oh, yeah, bachelor party. I would have gone back. 39 episodes of Bosom Buddies. Once you see that, that's all you need to know.
I love it. Let's talk about the dog. I can't imagine because you basically did a chemistry read with a dog. Is it harder having to say no to an actor? This person got the part, or is it much harder having to look a dog in the eyes and go, "I'm sorry, but it's this one."
It was tough. I gotta say, and I would say, why am I King Solomon here all of a sudden? Why am I that? Somebody else make the decision. I don't want to.
Right.
But that being said, if someone said, "All right, we're not going to tell you, Tom, which one of these two dogs do you think should be Goodyear?" Everybody would have gone to Seamus. There was just no close. There was something about those whiskers. If you look at him, if you check the movie out, his tail has this odd little crook in it, just
Mm.
like it. And I asked Mark and Ray, where does this crook come from? And it was because when he was a puppy and he was in essentially an encampment with a bunch of homeless
Right.
guys, somebody slammed his tail in a car door. So as a little
Oh.
puppy, he experienced this moment of crazy pain. But what he's got from it now is this fabulous little physical quirk that is just adorable.
Yep.
How many times did I run my hands from his ears down his back to that tail, right to that little nub, and just give it a rub? I couldn't keep my hands off it.
Once again, scars are to be embraced, and it probably earned him the role. I know they're about to wrap me. I love the concept of showing somebody a picture, which you do with Jeff, but explaining what it's like to be there and experience it as a human being in person. Is there something on your bucket list, some photo you've seen that you've never experienced in person, a place maybe you want to go, something for you?
No, I don't. I've never really thought that way because the moment I put it on a bucket list, that would guarantee that would never happen. I've been around the world and I've been in places, I've worked in places, I've experienced things that if I dared dream about it, it never would have happened. So I'm leaving it all up to serendipity and the benevolence of the goddess Caligula. I'll go where I'm pointed.
Well, I hope that points you to Arizona eventually. It's always a pleasure. I wish this was in person. Please tell your wife happy birthday. I know it's just a few days away and she is
It's,
just the best. So thank you,
it's,
Tom.
it's on Tuesday. Thank you. I
Yep.
will. Great talking to you, Tara.
Congratulations on this. This is a very easy first question. How in the heck do you direct Tom Hanks?
Like you direct anybody else, I guess. I mean, he likes being directed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's a very in the same way that seems like a very stand-up regular kind of guy. He's a stand-up regular kind of actor in that he likes being directed. He responds well to direction, and he just happens to be really, really, really good at what he does. So
Yeah.
it's a pleasure to direct him in any circumstance.
This film is very moving and it's interesting. I know that it's kind of set in a post-apocalyptic time where you've got scorching UV rays, you've got dust storms. To me, you're basically describing Arizona in the summer in this movie. Did we inspire
I've
you in
been
any
Arizona
way?
in the summer. Yeah, I remember being in Scottsdale in the middle of the summer and wondering how on earth anyone survives that heat. My wife was making a film there, and I was being a house husband, and I would drive from LA to Scottsdale on a regular basis and wonder if my wheels were going to melt in the process. It was quite an experience.
Well, hopefully you earned a lot of points for doing that because you're right. It is we usually escape for the summer ourselves. I have to talk about the robot. You know what's so interesting is again you've done such a masterful job kind of combining CGI. I know you're used to using CGI and kind of combining realities, but he makes these subtle changes, the robot, and you go from seeing him as a robot to seeing him as something so much more. In your opinion, what is the key to that, to have that shift that we all experience as viewers?
The key to that was Caleb Landry Jones, who played Jeff the robot and was there in every scene, playing opposite Tom, and everything that Jeff is really owed to Caleb and his performance. He's the voice, the transition of the voice, all the little quirks, everything that Jeff did was a direct lift from Caleb's performance, and then a little bit. There's some of it, obviously, is that the writers who did a fantastic job, the visual effects artist and visual effects supervisor, who really, I mean, I'm a terrible critic of those things, and I remember seeing one of the first finished shots of Jeff and just thinking, I cannot tell that this isn't real. It just looks so real, and that it also was finished 2 years ago, so it's actually 2 years old in terms of the quality of it, and it still feels like it stands up. And then my daughter, who I basically pulled a whole bunch of words and behaviorals from and put it into Jeff the character.
How old is she now, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
She's 8.5.
Does she realize that she was the inspiration for a lot of this? Has she seen the film?
She does. I try not to make her head get too big about it, but but she does, and she quite likes it, and she also goes to me, "Stop it," and then runs out the room.
If you're going on a road trip, and I know this past year a lot of Americans have gone on road trips for sure. If you're going on a road trip with Tom Hanks, what are your must-haves?
That's a very good question. What are your must-haves? A sleeping bag, because he really likes to sleep under the stars. We actually, in 2 different occasions when we were filming, we were filming in such remote places that there was no real way of shooting without actually staying there, and so we ended up with this caravan of RVs, and we would make a circle, and Tom and myself and Caleb and you know, 10, 15 of the other crew members, literally we had a fire, marshmallows, alcohol, and a kind of a circle of RVs, and we would stay there for a week at a time. And that was quite fun, I've got to say. That was a road trip with Tom Hanks.
You've basically just described my dream scenario: s'mores in the desert with Tom Hanks under the stars. That's pretty much exactly what I'd love to do. Congratulations on this, Miguel. I hope the next one's in person, and please come and visit in Arizona, but do not come in the summer.
Okay, will do. Thank you. Pleasure to meet you.